Hello, this is Cameron Moore. I am the writer, director, editor, and presenter of For Your Consideration. This is For Your Consideration, Episode 2, Night of the Living Dead. Now, the reason why I'm doing a commentary track for Episode 2, Night of the Living Dead, is because this is the episode, in my opinion, that has the most trivia, had the most troubled production, and was easily the most fun to make. This is easily my personal favorite. I know a lot of people like the King Kong one. I know a lot of people like the YKK one. But this is just my personal favorite. I actually went through 3 different intro ideas for this little opening sequence. Originally, it was going to be just like this, but it was going to be in a hallway in my school. Like, same thing, we'd be walking down the hallway, then a reverse shot of us walking away. And I was like, okay, fine, I can deal with this. But then, after discussing the intro with Collection Fanatic, who you guys may know as Spaghetti Man, he said you should recreate the intro with the car, and you should hit somebody. And I would run out and go oh my god, you okay? And they would go, give me to a hospital, and I would say, ever seen Night of the Living Dead? And it would smash cut to a grave, and then I would go, oh, gotta go review the movie. And I would go review the movie, and they would rise from the dead and attack the TV and film room, leading to the outro. But in the production of making this, while I was writing the script for this, I was watching the school news, because my high school has a school news. And they had a story where the Thespian Society helped remodel or at least spruce up this graveyard that we're in. And I was like, oh my god, we can go to this graveyard. So we packed up our things on a Wednesday and we went out and filmed at this graveyard, which is on school property.
Are you okay?
We thought that Confederates were buried here, but it was an old family that used to own the land. We're not entirely sure, but there were scumbags, they owned slaves, they did a bunch of bad things, so I had no moral problems filming on this set. But this was easily the most fun thing we had. It was a very gloomy day outside, very overcast. Not a lot of noise. I was always very worried that cars could be heard in the background. Thankfully, that wasn't the case. I previously demoed this opening scene with another actor I had. Originally 2 others. I don't even think we got that far. It was meant to be I was originally going to premiere this intro for a TV and film project where we had match cuts, shot, reverse shot. That's why you will see a lot of these, especially in the intro. That's why the intro is riddled with shot, reverse shot, insert shot, cutaway shot, cutting on action. And here we have one of our first major continuity edits. This was one of the last things we filmed. We filmed 4 separate times. The first thing we filmed was the review portion, intro, and then intro again, and outro. And then outro, and then outro again. So 5 days of shooting, all varying degrees of length. When this episode came out, I had only just finished wrapping up everything. And, we'll see obvious some insert shots. Most of these shots make it in. If there's one thing I really did not like about this episode, I really felt like I could have balanced the audio a lot better. Of course, we're using a handheld mic. I usually use a lapel mic because, it's non-intrusive. It gets right up to my neck. But whenever I use a lapel mic, oh, insert shot. I had to refilm that. And Tyler Wade makes his second appearance in the show. Doesn't have a name yet. We're gonna give him a name maybe next season. But I used a handheld mic on this because I was I do not want to risk having audio issues. I don't want the audio. You can hear it in the intro. Whenever I start talking, the audio is just boosted so loud. There's no way I could fix it. It was so annoying. So we're just you know what? We're gonna negate this entirely, everything afterwards, the only time we had to use a lapel mic was in the intro. The music is kind of boosted a little too loud, but you know, you can make out what I'm saying.
Now, the premise of Not Old is very simple and also very easy to understand. Basically, it's about a group of survivors who hole up in
I was very worried when I converted the footage, because I converted this from YouTube. I converted Night of the Living Dead from YouTube because it's public domain. I toyed with the idea of using the colored version, the version that's like in color, that's not in black and white. But if you're gonna talk about Night of the Living Dead, you have to kind of talk about the original. You can't have it in color. The colors version is by far one of the worst versions.
But how did it end up there?
The person behind there's a really obvious cut, like after I say Library of Congress, because after I said that, the person behind the camera went, "You're a Library of Congress," and I just didn't like that. I felt like episode 1 had too many outtakes make it to the final product, so I only use like 3, like not outtakes, but like 3, like, you know, after I say my line and we say a little funny thing afterwards. Those are never really scripted. And sometimes they make it in if I think they're funny enough. I never try and pad for time, so I don't really add long takes or long pieces of footage, which you'll see here. There are a lot of long pieces of footage that I use in this.
But then you also have the ones that never really came back, like the zombies being afraid of fire and
bug eating. For people wondering what that little orange and yellow little block, rectangular block there right next to the Criterion box set, like in between my Criterion copy of the movie and my computer, it's a little Lego piece because we had a project in TV and film where we had to make a stop motion project. So the TV and film teacher bought Legos in a little Lego set, and I guess someone made that. The thing propping up the proper movie actually is a Lego RV, because whenever I tried balancing it against the mic, but it kept falling over, and it really hurt my my camera guy's ears.
But of course, the zombies are only
So this is a little Lego RV holding up the Criterion box set.
Then it smash cuts to the next one.
I do like that little joke where it just that like mock smash cut, because I use smash cuts a lot when it comes to title changes, especially in episode 1. So I'm glad I kind of mocked it a little bit in that.
Because after that, she just sits around and does nothing. And I mean nothing. We also got Tom and his girlfriend Judy.
The most boring part about making these is always the writing the script. While I edit, you know, it's fine because, you know, I can like sometimes watch the movie while I do it. But writing the script is always the most boring.
Cooper is the first interesting character because he serves as the antagonist of the film. Cooper's whole deal,
it's like I want to take a piece of my hair and just like, pull it a different direction. It's like part of it's just hanging off. I mentioned earlier how this episode was the most trouble to produce, mostly because the audio and all the footage was just absolutely mangled. Because I used the same SD. Of course I use the same SD card. I use different cameras, but I use the same SD card for all different days, for all days of shooting. I think there was a time where I had a different SD card, but they would always come out in a AVCD whatever file, like something like that, a file, and they would always be named that. And I would import it into Premiere Pro. I would import it into a folder file that I labeled Night of the Living Dead, and then I would drag that footage from the folder into Premiere Pro. And sometimes it would replace audio. Like I had one clip where it played audio from the G Fuel commercial we made. One clip had audio coming from like the end of the project. And I was like, oh my god, I have to find a way to fix this, because I could not afford to do reshooting, because I did not have enough time. I have been under the most pressure to make this because we are actually 3 weeks away from ending this current year of school. So this was very rushed. You can certainly tell mostly in the outro, a very rushed video, but I'm still pleased with the product. This is like I said, this is my favorite one yet. But I couldn't afford to do reshoots, so the way I fixed it was I just
Ben is like
took the
only person
file.
in the entire movie you know
I took the file that had all the
to
footage in it, and I just put
He's
it
also the only
into
one
my
who
Google
knows
Drive, and
how
it
to
downloaded
actually
all into my
effectively
Google
kill
Drive.
zombies, making him super deadly.
So that worked. So I was able to replace certain audio, replace certain clips, because it would be looking for the download and not the file. So I felt so smart that day. I felt so smart. I was editing with a buddy, and I was like, I sound such a genius. I'm so smart. And I did feel really smart. It saved me a lot of time, because we all know these insert shots do not look well at all. They're very jarring. So I'm like, we cannot afford to have reshoots. We just can't do that.
Take any crap from anybody, especially Cooper.
My hair may be the greatest enemy in this entire just series. My hair always changes, and you'll definitely see it change in the outro, because afterwards I got my hair cut and my hair got a lot shorter. And of course you saw before with the lighting change. I originally wanted to hide the lighting change. I wanted to make this entire video in black and white, but the only portion that is in black and white is the ending. But I was like, yeah, we'll keep the ending in black and white, because it's different. It's very different tonally from the rest of the review, the rest of the video. But I really wanted. I kept it the same. I kept it in color. Like, I just kind of had to suck it up and accept the fact that this would look all right. It's just a few shots, but we'll get to another shot. We'll get to the outro had the most troubled production, because I had to call the day this was, like I said, the day this was uploaded, I had finished shooting. I had to do reshoots because we were missing 2 vital scenes. We were missing 2 or 3 vital scenes I just had to film. I was like, I have to get this done today, or else I'm going to go nuts. So I called in Tyler to film those shots, and we got it done during my TV and film class, and it was just perfect. We got everything done. I like working with small groups. I feel like when of course I directed everything on here, especially the opening and ending. I didn't direct Tyler's G Fuel commercial. That was something entirely he did on his own. But of course, I direct my actors to make it sound like this is an actual production. I directed my friends. I do love directing my friends, making them do certain things, making them do my bidding and bend to my will.
Like, holy moly, they blew a hole through that.
For some reason, that line, holy moly, he blew a hole through that guy, got laughed from everybody who's watched this. Like, they're like, oh, holy moly, no one says that. It was originally going to be holy shit, but I didn't really want to swear in this. And also because the TV and film teacher was in the room, and he probably would have gotten a little upset with us. This is the only non-zombie game music, besides the conclusion. This is from Bomberman Hero. Pretty tart game. It's mediocre, but it's got a killer soundtrack. But back to directing small groups. It's easier to direct small groups. As of right now, I've only ever had 2 people on screen at once, whether it's me and Evan, the guy from the Graveyard, or me and Tyler. I plan to have more characters. I want to actually make this like a somewhat cinematic universe. Cinematic YouTube universe. That just sounds stupid. Added little things. That's staying in.
A friend of mine described this movie as playing a video game with all the DLC added to it.
That quote comes from Collection Fanatic, which you guys probably know, Spaghetti Man. We both love the remake. The remake, I don't understand why the remake doesn't get enough love. The remake is very, very good. I know people complain that most of the movie is just them boarding up the house. But I think the remake is actually shorter than the original Night of the Living Dead. The gore in the remake is quite lacking, I will say, even though Tom Savini directed it.
Ben pretty much became Rambo in this one.
I was so worried about this. I was originally going to add like the A-Team soundtrack over this, but it just wasn't working, and I was like, I don't want to get copyright struck, because I was worried that I would put music in my video. And also same for this, because while the original Night Living Dead is public domain, the remake is not. So I was like, oh my goodness. Like, I've had trouble before uploading like certain clips of movies, and it would, you know, like I wouldn't be able to upload it.
For this is while Johnny in the original
I was so upset.
He becomes a strip annoying.
I would have been so upset if I couldn't premiere this. And these are obviously in lower quality. I cannot find a good YouTube to MP4 converter that is not in the that has not been blocked by my school, because of course I use school computers. I actually found out that's Bill Moseley who plays Johnny in the remake. Didn't know that. Bill Moseley's in like every B movie, B horror movie. So we're getting close to the ending of this. We're 15 minutes in. Yeah, we're about like 15 minutes. We're about to be 16 minutes in. I had the original ending for this was not what I planned, because the ending was gonna be the same. It would start the same. It would, you know, the zombie breaks into the TV and film room. We all go into the closet. It was gonna fade to black and fade back into me. I would be looking up at the camera, and I'd be like, shh, like, I will return, you know, for your consideration, will return. And I would have a big old little thing saying, oh, I will be back, but first I'm asleep. And, oh god, this is the footage I was talking about. It's so bit crushed.
These guys are breaking in. I'm not sure if I'm okay with this.
That's impossible. They can't break through that barricade.
What's up? But the original ending, it would fade after I did my little speech. It would fade to black, and it would fade into me playing the saxophone to the song "Sycamore Trees" by Jimmy Scott, which is most known from his appearance on Twin Peaks. I wanted my outro to be very Lynchian. Of course, for me using the song from Twin Peaks, Sycamore Trees, it was gonna have very strange shots. It was gonna be a shot of me running down a hallway that'll be intercut throughout the whole segment, and I would get closer every time it would cut back to me. But I did some more thinking about it, and I was like, no, I want to have like a whole Red Room / Black Lodge thing from Twin Peaks. I wanted to keep the Lynchian element in, so I did. And that's why we have the whole thing with Tyler behind the desk and everyone speaking backwards.
Yeah.
I wanted to find a way where, because the way it works in Twin Peaks is that they're in the Black Lodge, they record their lines backwards, like they say their lines backwards, and then they reverse that. So they're saying it, so you can hear them saying it forward, but it's like all jumbled up and messed up. And I really wanted to do it for this, but I couldn't find a way in software to do it without it sounding like absolute garbage and totally incomprehensible. And sometimes I just played the audio in reverse and you could understand us perfectly. So I just settled on the second best thing, and I just reversed the audio. I didn't reverse the whole thing. The video is still playing forward. The video is not playing backwards. Just the audio. Just the audio itself is playing backwards. It's pretty cool. I'm very glad I could do it. A common in-joke I have with everyone when I make these is that my titles are never centered. Every now and then I'll try and center it to look somewhat cool, but I like the fact that nothing I make is centered. I was originally going to have someone else do this role. I was originally going to have my friend Tavin do this. Tavin is a shorter gentleman. And I was like, oh man, the guy from the Red Room in Twin Peaks is like a shorter gentleman. We'll get Tavin to do this. He's short. And I was working with him. I think I have one clip of me working with Tavin. And I was just not getting the results I wanted. Like, Tavin's a good friend of mine, but he's not a good actor. Bless his heart. So I was like, okay, I have to get someone else. And Tyler was like, I'll do it. So, okay, we'll get Tyler to do this. So we did. I'm very happy with his performance. He was a little conscious about he was a little self-conscious about doing the dancing scene, and he couldn't say the word doppelganger. We had to film him saying doppelganger so many times. And the reason why I have a saxophone here, there's no big, like, deep message. It's the fact that I have a saxophone. I had it with me. So I was like, let's just go ahead and use it. We have, I think, 5 separate takes of me just laughing like a maniac. Like, just going absolutely nuts. And I finished one take. It was like I finished one really good take. And I turned around to, like, I turned to my left because everyone else in the room was on my left. And they were just like, whoa. They were like, whoa. Like, you sound crazy. I'm like, perfect. I never intended this to be the end of season 1. I intended to make a lot more episodes of For Your Consideration. But, of course, I realized that we were just running out of time. We ran out of time. Like, that's it. Like, I cannot make another episode. I could probably make, like, some gag reels, some bloopers, maybe some mini episodes. But we only have, like, 20-something days left of school. So I was like, okay, I have to finish big with this. And that's what I did with this. So the first season of For Your Consideration consists of 3 episodes, if you count the pilot, if not 2 episodes. So I guess we can dub this the original trilogy. And I'm very happy with how this turned out. I'm very happy with everything I have done. This is easily my favorite episode. Everything about this episode, almost everything about this episode I love, even though the audio is messed up. I'm just very, very happy. Had a lot of fun making this. And yeah, this is me. And hopefully this is good. I don't know what footage I put over this. Maybe I'll like mock myself and put like an old video over this. I don't know. Whenever I'm editing this in my class, like we'll just put whatever on here. All right, I ran over 2 minutes, and yeah, longest episode 2. 20 minutes and 48 seconds, easily the longest. Expect longer videos. Expect more skits too. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.